is real talk.
Real talk with Johnny. I mean, that's what we originally talked about.
That's the real talk with
Yeah.
Dr. Breezy. You know.
All right. Well, on the topic of Dr. Breezy, let's get into it. Where did the whole Dr. Breezy and EZ Breezy brand come about? Because you didn't just come day one, Dr. Breezy. Where did you tell the origin story of not only Dr. Breezy as the character,
Yeah.
but EZ Breezy as a brand?
That's funny. It's a great question, George. I mean, well, I'm Johnny. Johnny Spurlock. I
Right.
own a dealership. It's called EZ Breezy Autos. My wife and I started EZ Breezy Autos about 3.5 years ago. We're working to year four. Um, Dr. Breezy was a character I came up with. The origin of him, I don't know. I feel that I doctor and help people along their financial situation. I've been in the financial sector for a long time, not only with automobiles. I mean, I
Mm.
started in real estate. I was a realtor for years before I got into the automobile industry. And getting into the automobile industry, once I was able to get my own dealership, we named it Easy Breezy, and I always thought that you need a character, you need
Hmm.
something to have fun with the business, make it a little light. It doesn't have to be all serious. It is a
Right.
serious issue selling
Yeah.
cars and people's transportation. It's the second thing that's needed most compared to where you live at,
Right.
is your transportation. But the character Dr. Breezy, I thought it would be a fun character to make myself into a cartoon almost, where Dr. Breezy just comes in
Right.
and as a finance guy, as a financial contractual guy who knows how to hang loans and do things like that for customers. I thought Dr. Breezy would be like the perfect character, and it rhymes with Easy Breezy,
Yeah.
and so it just all kind of comes together, and it just came out of my head, to be honest. I mean, I'm big on creating, and I just
Yeah.
came up with it one day, Dr. Breezy, and he makes it easy.
But
And
the
so
the brand of being a doctor, you would say, probably was most influence from your customers, like the way you
the
approach
way I approach the
the car
customers.
industry.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
this isn't your first rodeo here at Easy Breezy, right?
Correct.
Tell a little more about that.
Yeah, no, I've been in the business now. It's crazy, man. Almost 20 years. I
Yeah.
mean, I came into the business like anybody. Just my first day, never selling a car, and the first time I tried to sell a car, I was at a franchise dealership. I think I made it for about 2.5 days before I quit. And but it's the situation and timing, and I did go back and thankfully try it again at another dealership.
Yeah.
My car actually got repoed, um, and that's what really kind of started to spin off into how I got into the business, because I had to go back and find a
Interesting.
car. Yeah,
You
yeah.
would think it'd be like the opposite. Like, get your car repo now. I want nothing to do with cars, you
Yeah,
know?
no. My
Right.
car got repoed, and I didn't have any money, and I was in my late 20s, and I was a new father, and I was new to the state of Colorado. I had just moved here from Los Angeles.
Wow.
That's probably as well with my creative thought process growing up in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
A lot of my life.
Well, speaking of growing up, that's kind of what I want to get into is take me back to the beginning, before Easy Breezy, before you were even in the car industry,
Yeah,
kind of what your upbringing was like, kind of maybe how that translated to you being a business owner, a
mm,
father and
yeah,
husband,
yeah.
what your life is like shaped around now, like what molded you growing up, and kind of maybe tell a little bit of that backstory
Man,
a little
my
bit, as much as you want.
okay. I mean, that's deep. My life was
Help viewers understand who Johnny is, not just Dr.
who Johnny
Breezy,
is, Dr.
the
Breezy.
guy behind the character.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I had a tough upbringing,
Mm.
really tough. Um, and I'm sure a lot of people say upbringings can be tough. In perspective, it's
Right.
always different.
Everyone
But
has their own set of problems they
it, it,
navigate.
it yeah. And so me, um, I I grew up in a single parent household for a while. I grew up with my mother, and I had a father, and they separated when I was very young, maybe 5 or 6. My mother, unfortunately she became a drug addict and was addicted to drugs. She smoked crack cocaine
Yeah.
and the crack epidemic. She um, and I lived in shelters. I bounced around. I went from relative's house to relative house, and so life was tough. I didn't have a really good upbringing. I don't have a lot of great memories of my upbringing
Yeah.
as a child. I had to grow up pretty fast.
Hmm.
I started working and what you call hustling, and I worked, and so when I don't want to say hustle as far as like doing something bad like selling a drug or something, but hustling with small jobs. Like I lied at 11, 12, and I got my first job at Sonic, the fast food restaurant,
Yeah.
cooking burgers. I'm just a little child in there,
Yeah.
but I was tall, and so it was good. And so they gave me a job, and I was flipping burgers and ride my bike to work, and I'd have a lot more money than some adults around me just working. I sold newspapers. I worked. I was in the South then. I worked for the Houston Chronicle and the Houston Post, and I would be 11, 10, 11, 12. I'd go downtown, and they dropped me off in front of a grocery store with 150 papers. I'd sell them for $1, $1.25 each, and I got like a 30-70 split, and
Mm.
so that was good for me. You have 200 papers,
Right.
you sell them all, you make 65, $75 a
Mm.
day. Bought me some Star Crunches,
Star.
a box of Star Crunches,
Yeah.
and and I'd go and stop at Payless. I like shoes, so I'd buy
We
me a pair
remember
of
Payless.
white kids or something,
Yeah.
man. And but I was always I like making money. I like having because I didn't have, and it was tough because everybody around me, I felt my cousins and relatives, they did have some
Hmm.
structure and stability. I didn't,
Right.
and so I
Okay.
think I craved a lot of that hunger for more and growing and getting it myself at a very young age. And so I think that from my younger life to my adolescent, as I got older, I moved to Los Angeles. I went to live with my father, being that my mother was on drugs, and I went to live with him at about uh, 14, 15 years old. So born in the South, I have a lot of Southern hospitality. You can still hear the Southern draw at times, and but then I went to live in Los Angeles, and I got dropped off in South Central Los
Oh wow.
Angeles with my father, and
Different
that was
culture.
totally
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
culture. So I went from the crack, to my dad over here in South Central, and
Yeah.
he was an alcoholic, which is another story. And so I went to that as a young adolescent in my teenage years, and so. But that was the upbringing, and it was tough because even when I got there with my father, I went back and forth. My mom would get cleaned up, and
Hmm.
then she would relapse.
Yeah.
She'd clean up, then she'd relapse, and I missed a lot of time in school and things like that. But I never used that as excuses for me. I was always like a overachiever, probably a overcomer for my situation.
Yeah.
And in that situation, I just remember my friends will tell you, I went to Locke High School. I graduated in 1995 in South Central Los Angeles. Shout out to Locke High School, all the Locke High Saints. But um, when I was supposedly in the 11th grade, I had ninth grade credits. My peers didn't know that,
Mm.
so going into my senior year, I really had about enough credits to be in the 10th grade. I was just so behind from the moving back and forth, moving from my mom to my
Yeah.
dad to my aunt to
Many
my
different
sisters, just all these
influences.
places. So I felt behind, but Man, I worked my butt off, my ass off, and my senior year, that last year, I mean, I graduated on time. I went to school, zero period before school. I went to after school class. I went to summer class. I went to
Mm.
night class. I had work study. I had a job. I also played basketball, and so, but I wound up graduating 1995, walking across that stage. Didn't use that as an excuse. Didn't have to spend any extra time in school, so I made up all that time. But that's a little bit about my back, just growing up. I mean, my growing up wasn't picture perfect. There's no business owner, no millionaires in my family that I had to
Yeah.
learn from. So it's been a lot of trial and error, you know.
Did you go to college, or did you just
Yeah.
kind of?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually, through all the work making it up, I got a scholarship through the United Negro College Fund.
Okay.
And so I got a scholarship to Lemoyne University. I did go to college. I did go out there. It was in Memphis, Tennessee. Shout out to Lemoyne. Um, I went for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, and
Okay.
then I dropped out pretty much. At that point, my father had got sick with cirrhosis of the liver. He had,
Yeah.
and so I was about 19 years old when he passed. But my college career at that point kind of ended. I moved back to Los Angeles, and I moved into my own place at 19, down in Baldwin Hills, California, in my first apartment in what they call the jungles. I had no idea where I moved. I just wanted to get out and be on my own, and so that's where it started.
So, in retrospect, looking back at your childhood, growing up through
Yeah,
college, and then getting embarked and starting your career, and then you flash forward to today, what's the biggest reality check for you, would you say, since not only becoming a business owner, but living in adulthood versus in contrast with how you grew up and were raised, because there's a
yeah,
lot of different principles, I would probably argue, between those different lifestyles. And
yeah. No, I mean, growing up and becoming an adult, and the reality is you get a chance to write your own path.
right.
You don't have to become or succumb to being a victim of your parents or the situation you were born into. We can't help what situations we were born into. We didn't choose to be here as a soul, as a spirit. We just ended up here, and it's like a deck of cards. You just dealt that deck.
Mm.
And the child that's being born right now, they have no idea what parents they're born to. Does their parent do fentanyl? Do they have successful parents? Do they have parents who are racist parents? Do they have parents who don't love or want to care for them? Do they have parents who are full of love? And there's a lot of brothers and sisters, and so you never know. You're just
Mm.
born into this
Right.
world. You chose, in my opinion, maybe to come, but that was a whole nother conversation about making some of those choices. But you were dealt that card, and it's about what you do with those cards that you dealt with.
I guess then how would you say the success of your business here and where you're at in life now currently maybe changed your perspective of certain realities or certain viewpoints that you had
Yeah, yeah.
growing up to today?
Growing up, I'm a black man from born in Monroe, Louisiana. I was raised in South Central. I come from, like I said, a place of a stigma, of a type of prejudice, of a type of mindset. A type of cultural place where my mind had to evolve and change about a lot of things that I thought that were maybe right or wrong, or what I saw or liked or didn't like. I'm only this way because of how I think and in things, and I can see the difference between me as I'm someone who's really trying to be very wealthy. I don't mind saying, I want to be a multi millionaire. I want to have millions of dollars and
Yeah.
do joyous things and enjoy the fruits of life. But that comes from my mindset, and the only difference I can see from me or some peers that I may have is just how we may have looked at these situations in life that we came faced with, and how we handled those situations. um,
Yeah.
I the glass is either half full or half empty, and both of those are right because it's half full or half empty, but it's just the side of the perspective you're looking at it from. But if you can always take a step back and see both sides of it, then I think it makes you able to make better decisions and maybe able to learn and evolve as a person a lot more. To become successful, you have to evolve into a lot of habits. If you come from nothing, you have to be taught how to make something. You have to educate yourself. You have to study and pay into yourself. And so a lot of the things that I've learned, it's self-taught. I got myself a lot of license growing up. I went to school. No one forced me. Like I said, I didn't have the parents to push me to want to go to college or be more. I didn't have a rich uncle or aunt who I really looked up to want better things in life. No, but what I did find is people throughout life and situations that I did look at that did guide me to that. But it was still the decisions and the actions I took. I love to read. I love to inform myself. I love to go deeper into my spirit. I like to challenge myself. I like to give my things goals. I'm a big goal setter. If you look on my wall up here, I constantly set goals and I make them
Yeah.
very transparent because I believe without having goals or a dream, you really just don't have any direction and you're just kind of
For sure.
floating.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm where I'm at, my sky is my limit. Like Notorious B.I.G. I just
Cue the
wanna,
music.
I just cue the music.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to dream and constantly dream and grow, and show the other people that know me or who don't know me that even though I did come from a crack infested life or parents who weren't really there. I came from living in the foster systems. I'm still here. I'm still creating, and now it seems I've created myself and put myself into position to keep growing and
Yeah.
keep creating. And I just want to share that story and give it back a little bit. That's a good part when I see that effect on someone else or when they have more questions and they're
Your
inquisitive.
influence on someone
Yeah,
else in
yeah.
a
How
positive way.
how does that help them better their life? And so I enjoy doing that and giving it back. And for those who have the ears, you can, they're there to hear,
Yeah.
and let them hear. And so I don't hold back, but at the same time, I don't try to force feed it either
Yeah.
because there's a time and a season when people are ready for certain things in life.
What's something you would say you've completely changed your mind on over the years then, through all these experiences you've lived and learned? Like, if there's like one
A
thing,
lot of things,
right, but if there's like one thing you had to point to that's something massive that you've changed your mind on over the years, because we all, evolve, we all change our minds about things, even on a daily basis for some. But as you get more life experience, obviously the things that even I wanted like 5 years ago, it's like it's not the same now,
Yeah.
or maybe you want something even more now. But again, going back to the question, what is something that you've changed your mind on over the years?
Um.
That's been a big, foundation shift for your life and how you go about things.
Well, I've changed my mind on projecting assumptions upon life, saying
Go into
that,
that a little more. What do you mean?
and I'll elaborate. I'll say where I assume I know what's going to happen.
Okay.
I just allow things to happen. I use intuition, and let's say, for example, I don't foresee a bad situation, nor do I foresee it a good situation, but I don't get too caught up in the emotion on what I'm seeing. And so that's something in my life that I've worked on where I try to just take day by day.
Hmm.
And I try to do the best in that day and the positive in that day.
So, like, I guess what you're trying to say is maybe you've kind of pulled back from trying to have control over the next day,
Correct.
or
Control over life and
yeah.
happiness. Because see, my happiness, it's my emotions. I want to learn to always have under control and under check.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the big things I've learned or I'm learning as I grow. Being in business, in a car business, in sales business, in relationships, things change daily.
Right.
But if I have an overall concept of something bad or good, as opposed to living in the moment,
Hmm.
then I'm missing the landscape of the moment and I'm not doing my best in that moment. And so I just think that something I've learned, because I would get so caught up on small things that didn't happen or small things that could happen, but they never occurred.
Yeah.
And so if there's something I've learned, it's just to take each day in each moment, moment by moment,
As it comes.
as it comes,
Yeah.
and be positive in that moment, and give the most positive energy I
Each day
can
has its own
to that
struggles,
moment,
not
because
try to control those struggles of the next day.
exactly,
Yeah.
nor let those struggles worry me or come into my interbeing, where it's allowing me not to be in a great space of
Mm.
consciousness. You know what I mean? And so that's one thing I've learned. Just you can control life, but you can't stop emotions. But you can see emotions, not accept them, and then reject them or accept the ones you want to accept. That's a difficult skill, I think, for anybody to learn, and I'm still working on that
What, like
lately.
emotional regulation?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just like you're saying, like when you say like the reality of where I'm at, or what the reality of growing a business. You're gonna
Mm.
have hard days, good
For sure.
days, bad days, but if you try to see 10 years ahead
Mm.
of the map, it's fine to have an intuition and a feeling and dream big and set them, but not get caught up on every single moment
Yeah.
of that journey. It's just the only moment that matters is the moment now,
Yeah.
because the past has already happened and the future is yet to come. So the only thing that really matters is that moment.
All right, I got a quick rapid fire, some questions for you regarding the EZ Breezy brand. First of all, you've in a matter of 2 years, you've built almost like not a cult like following, but I mean, so many people hear from you not only from word of mouth, but they know you for who you are. It seems, and not seems, it is. How would you say um, you keep customers coming back, even though you don't rely on one thing or another?
Hmm.
Easy breezy. What do you think that thing is, that spark that keeps people engaged with you and your brand?
I think we can empathize with people. I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm not too good for any person, whether it's a wealthy person. I can understand maybe where you're coming from. If it's a very poor person, I can understand where you're coming from. I can relate. If it's a mother or first time buyer or just a human, I can relate to them because my story relates in all sizes for most people.
Mm.
And I think we give a service that's relatable, and it's personable. It's different, you
How do
know.
you how do you define great service?
Um, I define great service by listening to the other person's needs and putting yourself as a servant to their needs and just really helping them meet those needs, whether you can meet them or not. But the directness and honesty of it, even if you have to let them know where they're at in
Mm-hmm.
their need, is helping them, because you don't have any ill intent behind it. Your only goal at the end is to help them, whether it was just information or
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, or you actually sold someone a vehicle in my case, or whatever it is. Your information is honest, and it's not for a reason that's selfish for you. It's always meant for the person that you're trying to help. And so I think that's a good service. When you have a waiter at a restaurant who knows what you need before you ask for it, that's a good thing. but
Yeah.
but most people they know what you need before you ask for it because they've probably been to a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's just common sense, but you're showing and giving yourself, over and beyond when you're there. If you have a mate and you know what they like, but you complete it before it's asked of you, or you're just there, then you're giving a good service. So I think for me in the car industry, I make it personable. I don't push customers to ever buy vehicles. I don't manipulate them, nor do I like manipulating them to buy my product.
Hmm.
I just want to be there when they are in a need for some type of service. And if I can help deliver that service honestly, without an intent of a dollar,
Hmm.
then typically I'm able to give them a really excellent service. So I think that's why my brand is what it is. I
You're
think when
focused on more helping
a-
people before the paycheck, and the paycheck comes
Absolutely,
from because you're
absolutely.
helping
It's
people.
it's it's the
Right.
law of karma. I mean,
Yeah.
the more people I help, the bigger the paycheck. Not unfortunately, but fortunately, it gets.
Yeah.
If I decide I don't want to help people and mislead people up front, the smaller my paycheck over time gets, even if it's big, because I'm doing something, and the gains I'm gaining are ill-willed. I'm getting them with the wrong mindset, and life and karma has a way of coming back around. And even though you may make money here, you're suffering over here in another part of life, or you're doing well in this part of life, but this part of life is bad. And so me, I just want to be a well-rounded individual and help people, and I think that message comes off because customers will tell you, I really just keep it straight, direct, and honest with them. I really don't have a filter when it comes to uh, giving them a truth.
All right. I got 4 pieces for you. Then we're gonna call it for this one.
Okay.
The first one is, what impact do you want to leave not only on customers, but your image in this industry, and as Johnny?
Um. Well, I'm not done making that, so
Hmm.
I don't know how to answer. We have to circle back, but I do want my image to be someone who's um, not just a car salesman,
Hmm.
but someone who was really human and empathetic for all people, no matter what the plight or the situation is. And so, but also I think building a great brand that's just known to help the little man would
Hmm.
be an image. That I go to bat for most of the people that some salespeople or some people in my industry and colleagues won't even touch.
Hmm.
I still have a moment, no matter how successful I make Easy Breezy, to still help that little man, that little man on Social Security, and the little mom who just works at Arby's for 3 months, and she doesn't
Needs
have
a
a big
car.
budget. She needs a car, but
Yeah.
she doesn't, because some places you walk into the big places, some big places, and they don't even treat you like you're human, even though most of those people there, they just work there.
Yeah.
They may
Another
not
number
even
on
be
the
there.
board.
Yeah, and so that's what I want to be known for, and I want to make Easy Breezy known for the community, that we're just always there to help. We're here to help the 98% of people who really maybe can't, or they just don't know, or they need information. That's what I want us to be known for.
Fair enough. What do you hope your team says about you? And we can ask this in a different way too. What do you think your team
What I
would
think
would
my
say about
team
you
would
to a
say
random
about
person?
me. It's a good question. I try to find that out all the time. They never tell me what. That's the secret. I don't know. I would hope they say I create an atmosphere for them to thrive. I hope my team would say, I'm not jealous about them growing as individuals and spirits, and I hope my team would say that I really cared for people when I didn't have to care for people, that I showed them that it's okay to do that and care for people when I didn't have to spend that extra moment in time. I did take that time. And so, but I don't really live my life to care about what they honestly say about me.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to do the best that I think. And but I do care about them as people and individuals in our relationships. But I'm here to lead for myself, lead for God, do what I think is right in that way for man and mankind. And sometimes because I am an owner and a boss, I have to make hard decisions. But
Right.
sometimes that's for the betterment of all. And it takes people kind of evolving to a certain level sometimes before they see that. But I would hope they like working for me, and I hope that I just make a nice place where an atmosphere where they can thrive and grow in.
If the viewers of this specific episode had to remember one thing from this conversation today,
Yeah.
what would be your number one? I hope this is your takeaway from what we talked about here. Either brand or personal life experience.
I think the one
number one takeaway here.
Number one takeaway is, be an overachiever. Still keep pushing, even though life. I mean, I have
Don't
so
settle
many,
for less.
Yeah, I have so many other things that how life has tried to beat me along my 49 years here, and I'm here still growing to once again make a huge success of myself financially, spiritually, and it's just because of how I think and how I overcome. And so I think if somebody look at me, I mean, like I said, I started by getting my car repossessed, and now I'm doing this podcast or this this interview with you about being Dr. Breezy and the character in EZ Breezy. We're having a hell of a month. We're selling cars and we're making money and we're branding and we're helping people. And so, and that just comes from some poor little black boy from the country whose mother smoked drugs and father was an alcoholic and who was behind in school. And here I am today, still setting goals, trying to continuously reach higher, so the next person who come behind me can see that and know, this is how we can do when we change our mindset or put our mind to something. So
cool. We'll call it there then.
hey man, I appreciate you.
Cool.
It was good. All right, George.
To those people
I like the question. Stop making excuses for the color of your skin in this country. I mean, I'm not saying that we're not stereotyped, nor have there been discriminatory acts and things to hold you back. But once again, I teach, so a man thinketh, so is he. Start being responsible for your own self. You have to be true to yourself about your problems and the things that you're going through in order to grow for any man, white, black, green. Yeah, you could be a white man and get a head start. Don't mean you're going to end good if you have bad habits.
Yeah.
You can be a Chinese guy with really good habits and a bad start. I mean, and so to each person, especially in my color, I guess the hardest thing for me is to see when we do use an excuse, and we use the excuse of a victimhood in a victim manner as opposed to allowing that to fuel us anymore. Knowledge is power, man. Knowledge is a powerful thing.
So good.
Knowledge is power. The more knowledgeable I am, the more understanding I become, the more I can evolve as a spirit, as a man, as a human being. When I'm a child, I should do childish things, but when I become a man, I should put those things away, and I should be able to be responsible for my own self-judgment and what I'm doing. If I have a bad diet and I'm overweight, it's because I'm eating a lot. Period. Has nothing to do with...
Put the fork down.
Put the fork down.
Yeah.
If I'm drinking every single day and I'm having health problems, stop drinking.
Put the bottle down.
Put the bottle down.
Yeah.
If I have bad credit and I don't pay no bills, won't pay my bills, start paying your bills.
You maybe get a job to make some more money.
Make some extra money to help pay those bills.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop using the system approach, because the system approach, when you use that approach for your benefit, and I'm not talking about, some people need it, but when you start using system approaches as far as Section 8, or you using government benefits, or you using things, those things are holding you back mentally. They're holding you back spiritually. They're holding you back financially, because you're forgetting about creating at that point, and
Right.
you're relying on someone else to feed you.
Yeah. If your situation's paid for and taken care of and too good to be true, then why would you want to
Why
take
would
the
you wanna
initiative
take
to
the initiative
right?
to grow?
And it doesn't matter what color you are.
Doesn't matter
Everyone
what
takes
color
advantage
you
of
are.
that,
Doesn't
right?
matter. I see so many of, and I would say my people
Mm-hmm.
who use those type of excuses. My people who do those type of things. They make those excuses that they weren't given a chance. But how many books did you read? They don't know how to do this. Well, did you pay into yourself and learn the new skills so you can know how to do this?
Yeah,
And so
that's good.
that's what my community, and that's what people, I would say, if I had to give a message to young people that I'm mentoring, I'm only here because I've educated myself in my field. I've educated myself in my craft. I taught myself. I've taught myself to day trade. I've taught myself to speak Spanish. I've taught myself to become a realtor. I've taught myself to become a finance manager. I've taught myself. I've
Yeah.
taught myself so many
Seeking knowledge
things.
always, right?
Seeking knowledge,
Yeah.
because once I have this knowledge, it's power. Once I learned how to desk my own deals and finance the deals, no one could tell me it
Yeah.
wasn't financeable.
Yep.
That increased my revenue. It increased, um, it increased who I am to the company that I'm with. You know, it increasing that knowledge. If I had to mentor and give anybody knowledge, is power, man. You have no idea how much an education, how much a trade, how much a talent, once you bring it out and you learn that trade and that craft, how much that can bring to your life, you know? And so you have to learn how to hunt,
It's good. Very good.
kill,
Yeah.
skin it,
Yeah.
and eat it. Once you can do that, you can be self sufficient in this world no matter where you're at in the world. You can drop me right now in some little town, who knows, wherever just, I'm gonna make it because
Yeah.
I have a skill set.
Yeah. It's good. It's chase knowledge.
Chase knowledge.
That's what's up.
Chase knowledge.
That should be the slogan of the week, don't you
Chase
think?
knowledge.
Chase knowledge. I like
Because
that.
nothing is like it.
No.
The more knowledge you can encumber upon yourself, the more you evolve, the more you enlighten, and the more knowledge you get, the more you're not afraid in this life with situations.
Yeah.
Because you have knowledge of it.
Yep. Very good.